Welcome, Marisa Firkin. So we're here with you today, and this is part of the book Rebel Women, a playbook for your career in health and safety. Thank you so much for agreeing to be interviewed by us today. Um, Before we start, Marisa, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you found yourself in health and safety to start with?
Okay, a really unusual career transition. I spent 22 years working in law enforcement, mainly as an investigator, and that was with the National Crime Agency. A major turn of events meant that I was not able to do that job anymore. Unfortunately, my husband fell quite critically ill for a number of years. It went on for. And so I had to have a plan B. And literally, I just thought, okay, I've spent my life in law enforcement. Where can I transfer those skills? And people don't realise this, but it's a very natural transition from law enforcement of protecting people to into health and safety, where you're doing exactly the same thing. So I did my NEBOSH at night school, studied myself, and then a job role came up in the National Crime Agency for a full-time health and safety advisor. Spent 5 years doing that, and then decided to, yeah, I was going to have my own path into consultancy.
So before we go on to that, because I want to ask you about that, what an amazing segue, because you were basically in the same sort of context as you'd been in before, but in a different role. I'm imagining that was really useful.
Yeah, it is really useful. I think your background really defines how you'll be as a safety advisor. Um, and in that previous role, you had to, risk was a big part of what we did. We did dangerous stuff. And, that risk approach to risk management and risk appetite is a really big part of delivering against sort of government objectives and, you know, arresting the bad people and things like that. So, yeah, there's a good transferable skill set from one
Yeah,
to the other.
that's interesting. I hadn't really thought about that before. I mean, a lot when I first started in the profession, a lot of people were ex-police or ex-army,
Mhm.
and I hadn't really made that kind of leap into why that might be. So no, it makes a lot of sense. But then, how did you find your way into the commercial side? What made you kind of leap out of being employed into more of the freelance area?
Okay, this is going to sound totally crazy now, but literally, I was in the pub one day and the guy who designs my website said to me, "You know what, Maz, you should set up your own business. You'd be really good at it." And I kind of thought about it for about 20 seconds and I thought, yeah, actually, I think I would be good at it. And then I literally took the leap from one to the other. There was no thought or planning. I'm literally someone who does really random stuff. I I am a high risk taker. I'm a gambler, like as in like I will take a chance on things, including myself. And that is literally how Safety Forward was born.
That's incredible. That is really incredible. So, who was your first client?
Oh gosh, my first client. So bearing in mind I've never sold to anyone, I've never dealt with
Right.
anyone outside law enforcement. My first job came through and it was a domestic oil company. So if you've got a house and it's not on the main grid of energy, they fill up these containers outside your house, that tanks. And they were my first client. And I remember my first landing that first job, going out to it and thinking, what the hell am I doing? Like, yeah, why would I even be putting myself through this?
And so then, did you say earlier when we were speaking that you have other people working for you now?
Yeah, so I'll just talk a little bit about that. So,
Hmm.
the I did quite a bit of project work through agencies and stuff, which gave me other exposure into different industries because I'm someone who learns very quickly from my own mistakes or failings. So where I've identified actually you've got an issue in your skill set there or your knowledge there, I've got a really big appetite to fill that gap. So I did quite a bit of project work, mainly in aerospace and engineering, which was really good to get coming out of law enforcement, getting a feeling for other industries. And then, yeah, kind of things started to have some momentum to them. I only ever set out to work 2 days a week. I literally put myself into semi-retirement at the age of 42. But then literally by the age of 45, I was working longer hours than I'd ever done. And so I took on my first like PA, if you like, someone to help me with the office function. And she was a lady called Vicky Sutton. That was 10 years ago. She's still working for me now. She's my main consultant. She's absolutely brilliant. And yeah, we've taken on more staff since then. We're a team of 10, currently recruiting a couple of people as well to join us.
Wow, that's incredible. So you'd not run your own business, you'd never sold anything. So how do you find the selling side?
Um, so I don't believe in selling. I believe that I solve problems where people have got gaps. So if I go out and meet someone for the first time, what I really want to know is what is it in their business that I can help solve their problem. And sometimes my business can't solve their problem. It might be a very niche area, or we're very selective about who we work with, and we've had some bad clients. We've learned from those. So in the early stages, it's about identifying who is your A client, who is the company that's going to bring you meaningful work. And so yeah, I think I'm not a salesperson at all, but I think it's about two minds aligning in the right places.
And how do people find you then?
Okay, so we get a lot of work through word of mouth, from other consultancies, other clients pass on our details. Um, I've always been a big believer in having a really good website, which is different to how some other consultants would probably think and feel. But for me, it's your shop window into your business. So we get some direct contact through, through our website as well.
Brilliant. And what has surprised you most about working on the commercial side, would you say?
What has surprised me most?
I mean, anything that's been better than expected or harder? Is it really different from working in-house or being
Yeah.
employed?
Okay, so the bit that surprised me are the benefits, really. So as a consultant, you don't have to be embroiled in the politics. So quite often you'll go out to a business and there might be culture issues and problems there, which you can help the client work on and give them ideas, and set them on a road to improvement. But the great thing is that when you leave at the end of the day, you don't carry the weight, of that company's culture on your shoulders. There are very strict boundaries when you're a consultant, as in you go in, you are an enabler, but you're not there to take away their duty of care or their legal liabilities. So it's really understanding those boundaries and keeping them quite strong.
It's really interesting because I mean, in a sense, that should be the case for any health and safety professional, shouldn't it, really? But I guess it's easier to kind of create those boundaries when you are not employed.
Yeah, so we work with a lot of clients that actually have an in-house team of health and safety professionals. People think we are just an outsourced company, but we're so much more than that. And what I find is there's been occasions where I've been brought in to help companies where they've got underperforming health and safety teams. And that's a really interesting area of work, because actually what happens quite a lot is that company haven't defined their expectations. They don't have clear targets. They've just been left to get on with ISO 45001. So it's kind of, with those projects, it's really understanding, is there an issue with accountability? Are their job profiles really clear? What's their line of supervision? What opportunities do they have? Those types of projects are really interesting.
Got it. Okay. And you've made it sound like a breeze, Marissa. I don't know. I don't know whether it has been a breeze, but have you had any big challenges along the way? What's been your biggest challenges?
I think my challenges, to be honest, are not client challenges, they're my own personal challenges. And I will say that actually I get up in the morning and I am energized every day. I absolutely love what I do. But this job, being a consultant and owning a business and employing people, does throw its curveballs and challenges. And I think the biggest challenge for me has been recruiting of like-minded people where their own personal values of um, integrity, self-improvement. I'm a big advocate of that in our industry. And that kind of that curiosity. So I think a really good health and safety professional is someone who has natural curiosity, and just finding that those key things in one person can be really challenging in safety forward.
How interesting. And do you think that that is, in general, would be the case, whatever you were doing? Or do you think there is a specific issue in safety which makes it harder to find?
I think there's an issue in safety, and I think the reason for that issue is a lot of people find themselves in safety unexpectedly. And I'll
Yeah.
give you an example. If sometimes we go into a factory where Ted used to work on the tools and he injured himself, so they've given him the health and safety hat to wear, but they've not given him any of the skills that go with that, the difficult conversation skill set or the influence skill set. So I think it is a challenge, because people find themselves in a health and safety role purely by accident sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so far I haven't spoken to anybody who hasn't found themselves in that career by accident. I mean, maybe there will be as we go along, but so far that's been the case. So yeah, very very curious, that, isn't it? So looking back, what do you think has mattered most in helping you build a successful commercial career in this space? Is it things like network, confidence, resilience, niche? What is it?
Okay, so I think there's two things here. It's always working on yourself, and you are a version controlled safety person or a version controlled business owner, and you need to keep creating, adapting, being resilient. And so I think that aspect is important. And I think the second thing is, sorry, I forgot the question.
No, it was, don't worry, it was asking about what has mattered most in helping you build a successful commercial career
Right.
in this
So the
space.
second one is even more important. So I think you, as a safety professional, always remember what the profession has given you and give back. So I've mentored quite a lot of people in my time. I've mentored people wanting to go into consultancy. I've mentored young people who want to desperately get into the profession. So I think it's about using your opportunity to give back and inspire others, because I think this is one of the best professions to be in personally.
And what role have professional networks played in that? I mean, professional bodies, for example?
Yeah, so I am fortunate to I've been the chair of Birmingham Health, Safety, Environment Association for about 12 months now, and my network within that is absolutely brilliant. So, the people come to me and ask for advice, but as a committee, we get to invite some great speakers like yourself, Heather, come and
Thank you.
yes, come and share that, their knowledge with bees and members. For me, it's a great organisation that's grown my network, but also in my business network has been great as well. I've got a lot of people around me that are readily there to support me, pick me up when I've had a bad day, give me advice, and be my general cheerleaders.
That's lovely. That's lovely. I love the fact you call it Beezer as well. Like, because when I first heard it, I was like, Beezer, what's Beezer? But obviously now I know. You're kind of an independent association, aren't you? Is a bit like London Health and Safety Group, where you're not affiliated with IOSH or anything like that. Is that right? Have I got that right?
Yeah, we're part of the Safety Groups UK.
Oh, you're part of
Honestly,
Safety Groups UK. Got it.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a brilliant organisation. It's been going like something like 90 years. I'm the first female chair, which I feel really honoured about. And we have a great group. The attendance is fantastic. And we have a conference in October, which is all about soft skills, influence, difficult conversations. And I think for £45 a year, that's really good
That's
value for
good
money.
value, definitely. It is, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't exactly aware that you were part of SGUK. That was used to be John Cairns, didn't it? Back in the mists of time.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow,
Yeah.
okay. So uh if someone else were if a woman were to come to you and say, I'm currently employed in a health and safety role, I want to potentially go outside and do freelance or do something
Hmm.
similar to you, what advice would you give them?
So I think network is the first thing. I mean, I've talked about learning from mistakes. I left law enforcement and knew absolutely nobody. And somebody told me about networking, and getting out there and, meeting people. You have to produce a product that is niche. So what is going to be your unique selling point? Why are people going to buy services from you? You'll wear many hats, as you probably know, Heather. You'll be the IT person, you'll be the invoice person, chasing the debts, updating the website. There is so many things that you have to learn. But if you are someone that is driven and loves a challenge, then it's absolutely for you. And you can design what you create, you can design it around your lifestyle. If you want to work 2 or 3 days, if you want to work abroad, it's all those having all those creating those opportunities for you.
One of the things I think is interesting in what you've said is that you haven't pointed out one of the things that I think is really important, but you've actually said it isn't, which is you have to be able to sell. Now, you're saying I'm not selling, I'm problem solving. But is there an element of what is that? Obviously, you're defining it in a slightly different way to me, but what do you think is an ingredient that is an absolute must have for success?
Okay, so yeah, it's being inquisitive and curious and thinking, how can I solve this problem? Because, we're not an off the shelf package consultancy. We're very niche in our specialisms and some of the things we do. But it's about digging deep with a potential client and understanding, what is the core of the problem here? What is it do they want to achieve? Can I help with that realistically, and how much ownership do they need? So I think I love business, and I love to understand business, and yeah, the different issues and problems people come up with. So you'll go and you'll talk about health and safety, and this is the service we offer. But actually, what you're doing is you're doing a deep dive of a business, its workings, its challenges, which are not just health and safety, but then you're looking to resolve those and seeing how health and safety fits into that.
Got it. So earlier you talked about defining your niche and your unique selling point. Is that your unique selling point, or what would you say your niche or unique selling point was?
Okay, so I think for us, we are very much built on personal relationships. Like, we know our clients well. Um, the type of client that's just going to pick up the phone once a year it's not the client that we want. We want a proactive um, service, but built on relationship. So I think a lot of consultancies, they go in, they're there, fix the problem and come out. But, when we hire consultants, they have to have the small talk, because actually being listened to and people digging deep into the problems, that's all relationship built stuff.
And do you think there are advantages to being a woman in the area that you're in? And conversely, what are the disadvantages?
Oh gosh, yeah. So definitely there are advantages. Now, bearing in mind 60% of what we do is construction or construction supply chain. Actually being a woman is a massive advantage. Vic, who works for me, she's one of our construction consultants. She's worked on the tools. She was an ex-telehandler driver, invested in herself, and she's a cracking consultant. So people, when she walks around a construction site, people listen. She's really
Right.
good at explaining. Quite often, the teams can be used to being shouted at. So I think she's got a really great skill set in listening, understanding, and saying, show me how, rather than what are you doing like that for. So yeah. And disadvantage, I mean, can you believe that in my 13 years of doing this, that I actually turned up to scope a job out once and do a quote, and I walked through the door and they went, this isn't going to work. My lads won't respond to a woman. Sorry, but we can't have a woman.
How long ago was that, Marissa?
Oh, it was probably 9 or 10 years ago, but luckily we have male consultants. But it did make me laugh, because I thought, actually, what century are you in? And it's quite funnily enough, another challenge is toilets on construction site for
Ah,
women are always
yes.
locked. So
Yes.
literally, you will run around with your legs crossed while someone tries to find the key for the toilet.
Oh, and let's end with your biggest piece of advice for a woman in health and safety, whether they're on the commercial side or whether they're in-house. What's your biggest piece of advice?
Okay, so if you're starting out and you want to look at different career options, one of the best tools of this job is LinkedIn. So if you start talking about things that mean something to you, that you care about, get some interaction, it's a great place to build your network. I've also just discovered Substack, which I absolutely love, which is less of a showpiece than LinkedIn is. But I think LinkedIn's a really good start to build your network. So, not everyone, if you've got kids, family commitments and stuff, you might not be able to get out to a lot of these meetings. But I've made quite a lot of good contacts through LinkedIn. I've won some quite big contracts because people have liked the type of things I talk about. So I think, yeah, if you're not on LinkedIn, get looking and learning, and yeah, and consider Substack as well.
Brilliant. How often do you post, Marissa?
Oh, not much at the moment, I'm afraid. But I try and post once a week, but something
Okay.
meaningful rather than posting all the time. And it's people fall deaf quite quickly if you're posting too much. So
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
focused about your message. People buy from people, so make
Yeah.
sure you're not afraid to get your personality across. I'm Marmite, so I find I really am Marmite. People either love or hate me, but it seems to attract the right person. So
Believe anyone hates you, Marissa.
you'd be surprised, Heather. You'd
Well,
be
perhaps I
surprised.
haven't seen that side of you.
Yeah.
Anything else that you would like to pass on wisdom wise before we close?
Yeah, so if there's anyone out there, particularly females that are thinking, actually want to be in charge of my own destiny, I'm thinking about taking a leap, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. You can find me on the Birmingham Health Safety Environmental Association page. You can find me on LinkedIn under Marisa Firkins. And yeah, reach out. I'm more than happy to have a chat with people.
That's an amazing offer. And one thing, something I really notice about this community is everybody's incredibly generous in supporting others, aren't they? So thank you so much, Marisa, for your contributions today. I really, really appreciate it. It's been lovely to talk to you.
Thank you, Heather. Good to see you.